The fifth episode of The Summer I Turned Pretty starts with Belly learning how to waltz. When she was younger, Bella's best memory with Conrad had been of the day he taught her how to shag dance. She fondly remembers that as she stands inside the ballroom during dance practice, she nervously contemplates how she should text Conrad and finally sends him a good morning text. At the practice, Belly is the only one without a partner because she never asked Cam to the dance. When Nicole notices this, she, being Bella's big sister for the deb ball, steps in to help her. As the two get to talking, Nicole tells Belly that Conrad didn't reply to her text last night. She wonders if Belly knows where he is. His mention takes Belly back to last night when she almost kissed Conrad. She brushes Nicole's concern away by saying she hasn't seen Conrad. When Conrad wakes up that morning, he smiles to himself, recalling what had almost happened last night. He even goes searching for Belly the first thing after waking up but finds her room empty. That does not affect his good mood though, and even Jeremiah can't help but notice it. He wonders what the reason behind Conrad's cheery demeanor is, though he already suspects it has something to do with what he saw the night before. It seems like Jeremiah isn't happy with the notion of Conrad and Belly together, but he does not hint at anything unusual, and leaves for work. When Jeremiah arrives at the country club, he finds Belly at her dance practice and takes the lead from Nicole. Being his usual goofy self, Jeremiah turns the mood around for everyone as he plays some pop music. The boring waltz practice turns into a party. But when Paige returns, she sends Jeremiah away just as Conrad arrives at the scene. He waves at Belly, but Nicole spots him too and thinks he has come there for her. Before he leaves, Conrad texts Belly, saying that he will catch her later back at the house, and this excites Belly. At his sailing lessons with Cleveland, Conrad finds out that the man is contemplating texting the woman with whom he recently had a rather exciting rendezvous. When he figures out that the woman is Laurel, he advises Cleveland to shoot his shot and text her. At the same time, Cleveland can see that Conrad is happier than usual that day, and he asks him the reason. Conrad eventually tells him that it is because of a girl that he has been friends with for so long but now feels differently about. He just does not want to mess it up with her because he's not in a good place right now. Cleveland relates to Conrad's dilemma. He advises him that to be able to be good with someone else, a person should first learn to be good with himself. His words resonate with Conrad. After Laurel and Susanna finally talk things out, they dissolve their fight. Then Laurel tells Susanna about her night with Cleveland, which gets Susanna really excited for her. When Cleveland sends Laurel a text, asking her when they can meet again, she considers being cautious about her next move. But Susanna convinces her to throw all caution to the wind and be a bit more daring. The two indulge in some edibles and soon get a kite. Belly returns home looking for Conrad but instead runs into Cameron, who is there to take her on a date. The two ride their bikes and arrive at the beach to spot whales. Cameron has also made sandwiches for their date together. His efforts make Belly feel as if she could spend the entire summer with him and be perfectly happy. But she can't help but wish that she was here with Conrad instead. In the end, Belly does the right thing and breaks up with Cameron. And though he feels sad about this, Cameron kind of saw it coming. He only wishes for Belly to be with someone she truly wants to be with. Meanwhile, at the country club, when the girls from Belly's dance class try making fun of Belly for being a clumsy dancer in front of Jeremiah, he does not take it well. He stands up for Belly, shutting the catty girls up. Later, when he finds out that Shayla and Nicole are making plans to go to a music festival, Jeremiah suggests that Nicole should invite Conrad as well. This gets Nicole excited and she takes it as a chance to spend more time with Conrad. Though Jeremiah seems to have an ulterior motive of his own for suggesting this. Stephen gets invited to serve at the exclusive country club card game where old white men throw their money around as they drink and gamble. This is a good thing for him because he can earn more money with the tips this way. He impresses the men in the room with his charm and his witty sense of humor. Just when he feels like he is fitting in well with them, one of the men makes a casual racist comment about Stephen's Asian heritage. This throws Stephen off his game and he talks about this to his senior at work. In response, the man hands him an envelope full of his morning tips and advises Stephen to not bother with what those men say. He should focus on earning their money instead. When Belly returns home looking for Conrad but runs into Jeremiah instead, she tells him about her breakup with Cameron, but Belly isn't too upset about it. Jeremiah points that out and then tells her about their superstone moms who are eating the entire kitchen away. Inside the house, the two find their mothers gorging on snacks and acting deranged. Susanna takes Jeremiah away to paint his portrait, which turns out to be a hilarious disaster since she is obviously flying high. Meanwhile, Laurel is so far gone that she doesn't even realize when she tells Belly about her rendezvous with Cleveland Castillo. Susanna and Laurel decide to take a walk on the beach and leave the kids alone. They talk about their kids and reminisce about their life before them. They go to a bar and let loose for the night, drinking, laughing, and enjoying while they still can. Belly gets ready to see Conrad and finally have a discussion about their almost kiss. She feels giddy with excitement. Meanwhile, when Conrad returns home, he finds the house in a complete mess. He starts cleaning up and finds his mother's painting of Jeremiah. Something shifts in him as he sees that and his mood instantly turns sour, and he kicks at the painting in anger. He eventually gathers himself and calms down. When Belly sees that Conrad is back home, she rushes to meet him. But much to her disappointment, when she tries to talk to him about their kiss, Conrad refuses to acknowledge that the kiss ever happened. When he eventually acknowledges it, he gives Belly a half-hearted response saying that while he thinks about her a lot and wants her, he just can't do this with her right now. Belly feels crushed by his response, but she holds herself together and tells him that she will not wait for him any longer. She leaves there in tears and calls Taylor. She misses her best friend and really wishes that she was there with her. Steven takes Shayla on a date and feels proud to be paying with the money he's been earning. They soon run into a few of Shayla's guy friends who find out that Steven has been working in the card room where their dads play. They have heard praises of a math whiz busboy and want to invite him to their regular card game. Steven excitedly accepts their offer and feels validated by the new attention he is receiving. While Laurel goes off on a date with Cleveland again, Susanna returns home all by herself. After a day of letting loose, Susanna's sickness is catching up to her again and she feels so exhausted that she can't even climb up the stairs. She catches her breath and takes a seat on the steps when Conrad notices his mother sitting there. He has a solemn look on his face as he watches his mother and then helps her up the stairs. Late at night, when Belly is swimming, Jeremiah joins her underwater. There seems to be something different about Jeremiah and Belly can feel it too as he gets closer to her. He tells that though she is her best friend, there have been times when he wished they were more than just friends. His confession takes Belly by surprise. She had never expected something like this from Jeremiah. She wonders why he never mentioned anything about it, and Jeremiah tells her that he was waiting for her to move on from Conrad. Belly recalls how Susanna always told her that she's destined for one of her boys. Belly had always hoped that Conrad would be the one for her, but now she realizes that Jeremiah could also be the one. And with that thought, Belly takes a step towards a new future and kisses Jeremiah. Belly wakes up from a dream about both Conrad and Jeremiah. This freaks Belly out and she curses her dream life for being just as complicated as her real life. Ever since her kiss with Jeremiah, Belly hasn't been able to think about anything else, and now she's confused about which boy she has feelings for. Susanna's drinking coffee by the pool in the morning when she spots Conrad and calls him over. She requests him to take Belly to the ball since she has no one to escort her. Conrad does not think that is such a good idea, but he's unable to deny his mother's request. Before he leaves, she reminds him to be on time for the charity tournament that she is hosting that day. Belly and Jeremiah have an awkward run-in that morning outside the bathroom. Jeremiah tries to make small talk with her about the tournament, but that is impossible because of the elephant in the room. He tells her that though he does not want to rush her, he wants to talk about their kiss the other night. They decide that they will talk about it after the tournament that day. Meanwhile, while working on Cleveland's boat, Conrad feels overly frustrated about everything that's going on in his life and suffers a panic attack. Cleveland helps Conrad through it and manages to subdue him, though he gets pretty worried for Conrad and the way he has been aggressing. He asks Conrad about what's bothering him, and the guy eventually breaks down and confesses everything about his mom. Conrad has known for a while about his mother's sickness and has carried the secret with him all this time. He fears that if he acknowledges the truth in front of everyone, he may lose his mother for real. Cleveland sympathizes with the kid and tells him that this burden is not his to bear, and that Conrad should tell his mom that he knows the truth. His words help Conrad feel a little better. On the other side, Belly sits as a model for Susanna's portrait in her Deb ball dress, which she does not appear very comfortable in. Clearly, she does not like this dress as much but is only wearing it because Susanna loves it. Susanna asks Belly about the charity she's representing at the volleyball tournament that day, and Belly tells her that it's the charity for homeless women that Susanna supports. This puts a smile on the woman's face. Belly is in the kitchen when Conrad approaches her. He awkwardly tries to hold a conversation with her but fails. He then apologizes to Belly for how he treated her the other day and for pretending to forget like he did not remember their almost kiss. Belly struggles with how to respond to him after all that has happened, and Conrad gets it. He suddenly asks her if he can take her to the Deb ball, and this takes Belly by surprise. She tells him she will think about it and rushes to open the door. She greets Taylor, who is visiting again for a day. She is here to support Belly after their previous conversation, and Belly is appreciative of her mere presence. The two get to Belly's room and start getting ready for the tournament as Belly fills Taylor in on all the major happenings of her life. Taylor is so excited for Belly and hopes that she will be rejecting Conrad's advances and give a chance to sweet Jeremiah instead. Belly is confused about what to do, but Taylor has just appointed herself as the CEO of Team Jeremiah. At the tournament, Susanna welcomes all the teams representing the different charities and the players get ready to play. Belly eyes the trophy competitively and vows to win it. Meanwhile, Taylor catches up to Jeremiah, who nervously eyes Conrad and Belly from a distance. Taylor assures him that he has no reason to worry about Conrad anymore because he's definitely in Belly's rearview now. Jeremiah wants to believe it but has a hard time being convinced. Conrad meets up with Nicole and informs her that he had asked Belly to the dance at his mother's request. Nicole pretends to act like she is not bothered by that prospect, and Conrad takes it as her approval. The tournament begins and Belly performs exceptionally well. She and Taylor remain in sync the entire time and win a few matches as well. But soon, Taylor falls to the ground and pretends to be hurt. She winks at Jeremiah and asks him to sub for her. Jeremiah understands her move and teams up with Belly for the rest of the tournament. They have a good run for a while until the match starts getting tougher and Jeremiah's performance starts to drop. Bella's competitiveness gets the best of her, and she makes a practical decision to toss Jeremiah out and asks Conrad to replace him instead. Her decision bothers Jeremiah, but he does not let it show. Once Conrad replaces him, they start winning match after match. It is no secret that their team is the best and they have terrific coordination. In the end, it is her partnership with Conrad that wins Belly the trophy. Conrad lifts Belly up in the air as they celebrate. When Susanna approaches to congratulate the two, she asks Belly if Conrad asked her to the ball or not, and that is when Belly finds out that the only reason Conrad asked her was because his mother told him to. This leaves her hurt and disappointed yet again. As they're leaving, Nicole invites Belly and Taylor to the after party on her dad's boat, and the girls agree to go. While walking there, Belly shares with Taylor her turmoil. She fears that she can't ever truly like Jeremiah if a piece of her heart still beats for his brother. Meanwhile, back at home, Stephen wants Jeremiah to accompany him to a party that night, but Jeremiah seems distracted and aloof. He is still upset about Belly choosing Conrad over him, and when Conrad walks into the room, he leaves. While talking and playing games with the girls, Taylor tells them about Belly's kiss with Jeremiah, and it takes everyone by surprise, especially Nicole, because all this time, she had been under the impression that there was something going on between Belly and Conrad. This puts her at ease. She then dares the girls to go skinny dipping in the water and everyone agrees. After Conrad and Stephen leave for the party, Jeremiah finds his mom asleep on the couch. As he sits next to her, she wakes up, and the two talk for a while. He then finds out that his mom asked Conrad to be Belly's escort, and that makes him feel even worse. He then decides that he will, after all, go to the party and leaves. Meanwhile, Susanna goes back to sleep. Jeremiah notices that his mother has been sleeping a lot lately and feels worried. At the party, Stephen and Conrad spot Jeremiah drinking and having fun. Conrad sneakily tries to ask Stephen about Jeremiah's latest girl, and Stephen tells him that according to Shayla's theory, Jeremiah is hooking up with Belly. This does not sit well with Conrad and makes him feel jealous. He starts typing a text. Meanwhile, Stephen hangs out with Kayla and her rich guy friends who ask him to play a game of cards with them, and he enthusiastically agrees. The girls strip out of their clothes and go skinny dipping in the water. They are in the middle of having fun when the night suddenly turns around and Nicole, along with her friends, takes off from there, leaving Taylor and Belly stranded without any clothes. It turns out that she saw the message that Conrad sent Belly, saying that he asked her to the ball not because his mother asked him to, but because he wanted to. Despite the ridiculous situation they are in, this makes Belly blush. The girls try to find a way to get home. They find a sheet big enough to cover the two of them as they walk back home in the dark, all alone. Taylor wants Belly to call Jeremiah so he can rescue them, but Belly refuses to do that. Taylor feels annoyed at the girls who left them in this state and at Conrad for causing this mess in the first place. Belly reflects on her behavior that day and feels bad about how she had tossed Jeremiah aside for Conrad at the game, because she was entrapped in Conrad's love spell that makes her blind to everything else around her. Tired of feeling that way, she finally decides to call Jeremiah. Back at the party, Jeremiah talks to Conrad about their mother. He has noticed her sleeping a lot lately and it has made him a little concerned. Instead of coming clean about Susanna's illness, Conrad dismisses his concern by saying that it is just because she is on vacation. Suddenly, Nicole shows up there, demanding to talk to Conrad in private, and Jeremiah receives a call from Belly. Nicole takes Conrad outside and confronts him about his lies. She tells him that she saw his text to Belly and can't believe that Conrad would play her like this. She feels disappointed in herself for getting sucked into Conrad's games and is mad at him for wasting his time like that. Conrad listens to her talk and then apologizes for his mistakes because he knows he made a few too many. Nicole hands him the clothes she stole from the girls and leaves. Meanwhile, at the poker game, Stephen's cockiness gets the best of him, and while trying to outsmart Shayla's friends, he ends up betting all of his chips and loses in the end. Both Conrad and Jeremiah arrive to rescue Belly at the same time. Conrad passes the girls their clothes and the two quickly get dressed. Belly chooses to go back home with Jeremiah and asks Taylor to go with Conrad. When Taylor gets in the car, she does not try to hide her annoyance at Conrad and tells him that he has to let Belly go. On the drive back home, Belly apologizes to Jeremiah for how she treated him at the tournament earlier that day. Jeremiah asks her about Conrad being her date to the ball and Belly feels mad at that prospect. She tells him that she still does not have a date and gets him to pull over to the side. As the car stops, Belly turns to him and thanks him for saving her. Jeremiah promises that he will always come and get her. His words make Belly's heart beat 1,000,000 times faster and she makes Jeremiah feel it. They lean in to kiss each other and Belly feels so safe at that moment with Jeremiah. She then asks him if he would be her date to the ball and Jeremiah kisses her in return. Late at night, Belly is unable to sleep. She gets a text from Conrad asking her if she is up. Belly walks out to the deck and finds Conrad waiting for her. He seems hesitant and like he has 1,000,000 things to say, but Belly is just annoyed at him now. He finally gives her her birthday gift, telling her that she can throw it away if she wishes. His actions only mess with Bella's head and she feels conflicted once again. Conrad confesses to her that he just does not want to lose her and Belly's turmoil increases. But she finally tells him it is too late for that and walks away. All that Conrad can do is watch her leave with a broken heart.